James Byrd Jr., Alonzo Brooks, Tamla Horsford, Elijah Witherspoon. Do either of those names ring a bell? If they don't, I'll tell you when I come back. Hey everyone, thank you for returning. Newcomers, you're welcome here. Let's go. Okay, James Byrd Jr., Alonzo Brooks, Tamla Horsford, Elijah Witherspoon. Those four individuals are just the four that I'm going to speak on now, plus 2 or 3 additional people. James Byrd Jr., his case was horrific. It occurred in 1998. He accepted a ride from 3 white men, and that ended his life. Alonzo Brooks, remember him? Netflix special, The Mystery. What was that? Mysteries? I forgot the name of the series on Netflix. They showcased his case. Only black guy at a white rural party, disappeared. Nobody knew what happened. Then when we saw the segment, a lot of people were bothered and demanded that they find out what happened. The FBI reopened the case. More grim details came to light all of a sudden. Found out what happened to him. Tamla Horsford. I was looking at this case, YouTube channel called The Crime Weekly. They said that's one of their most requested cases. I was like, I wonder why. Because the circumstances behind her death is still confusing, have so many inconsistencies. And the thing I was just talking about, I was talking to someone about this yesterday. I said, what is truly baffling to me is how the owner of the house claimed that the video footage for the camera, I don't know if they had a Ring camera, but the video footage that for the back door to show who was in and out of the back door when they claimed the majority of them went to bed and Tamla was the only one that appeared to be up. Her excuse was, she didn't have any camera footage, right? But she had notifications showing that the door was open and closed, opening and closing, and then like 1 something in the morning, the door remained open. I'm like, God, the inconsistencies are like, whoever investigated this case, they need to go to jail. Elijah Witherspoon. This is another water boat case, you guys. This happened in 2020. Elijah was only 18 years old. Was 9 people on the boat, and he was the only black friend. And I say friend loosely. I'm seeing more and more how anti-black this country is because of the situations that happen, the circumstances that surround these cases that I'm going to talk to you about. You would have to really be working against that victim for whatever reasons to not see that there were some sinister circumstances that involved these cases. I mean, except the one, James Byrd, his is not a mystery. It was open and shut, but it's just an example of how Black Americans routinely continue to be unalive by these people who are now saying they're framing something completely different, saying that we are the ones who unalive them. I'm like, where'd you guys get this from? We have hundreds of years of evidence to prove that your false narrative is false. Now show me hundreds of years of evidence showing that Black Americans were routinely taking you out? I'll wait. Show me. Don't show a couple of cases. No. You're going to, in order for your argument to be true, you're going to have to come with hundreds of years of evidence to prove that Black Americans were the ones who were routinely violating and unaliving white Americans. Because we had a proof to prove that you are the violent, barbaric ones. So let's go on. We're going to start with James Byrd Jr. The Byrd murder case refers to the brutal killing of James Byrd Jr., a Black American man in Jasper, Texas, on June 7th, 1998.
It is extremely hard to go back to Jasper. Just seeing the city limits of Jasper, Texas, the trees caving in, and seeing a long, rugged road would just bring back the memories.
One of the worst hate crimes this nation has ever seen. Byrd was kidnapped and then tied behind a pickup truck and dragged for nearly 3 miles in the East Texas city of Jasper, all because he was Black.
The legacy of a gruesome hate crime still haunts this small Texas town.
Our lives changed forever on June 7th, the day of Byrd's murder. There are not words to describe just how bad this was.
We learned that there was a great deal of prejudice in our community that we kind of swept under the rug.
And it changed one family forever.
23 years ago, but it still seemed like yesterday.
This generation, they don't know about James Byrd Jr., the Black man that was dragged behind a pickup truck. I would describe my dad as witty, the life of the party, and very free-spirited. The day before my dad was brutally murdered, he wasn't himself. I don't know if he felt something.
I was actually in basic training, and my sergeants woke me up and told me, I had a phone call. It was pretty important.
The phone rang, and I heard my sister just scream. When I heard her scream, she hit the wall, and she said, "Daddy."
It's something you don't want to never get a phone call for, I tell you like that.
On a Saturday night in June 1998, James Byrd Jr. caught a ride with 3 white men in Jasper, Texas. They drove him down a dark country road, beat him, then chained him alive to a pickup truck and dragged his body for 3 miles until he was decapitated.
A Black boy found the body on his way to church, and he called the sheriff's department because it was outside of the city limits.
The sheriff immediately called the FBI in for backup, but it didn't take long for the news to spread through town.
He took the ministers out there and showed us, and we saw where the teeth were and where the baseball cap was and where the arm and the head were, and it was horrible. He wanted us to know as much as he knew so that we could tell our people.
Are you a white supremacist, sir? Are you a white supremacist?
The day after the murder, police arrested John William King, Russell Brewer, and Sean Allen Berry.
We believe that Bill King wanted to start a KKK group in this community and needed to do something phenomenal, earth-shattering, because Bill was a brilliant kid, but he was evil.
Byrd was offered a ride by 3 white men, 2 of whom were white supremacists. After a night of drinking, he was violently attacked, chained to a pickup truck, and dragged for 3 miles, resulting in the horrific injuries and his eventual death. This is so baffling to me because I don't know, you guys, those of you guys who do research, who do social media, who do content, haven't you been hearing about this narrative that's been going on for a while of white America accusing Black Americans of unaliving them at rapid rates? Where is this coming from? And they don't have the proof. The 2 things they'll name, the mental Black guy, the Black man who unalived the Ukraine woman on a train, of course, Metcalf. But then, I could turn around. Oh my God, do you have like 2 days for me to list the Black people you unalived? And some of them weren't doing anything, just James Byrd. He was offered a ride by 3 white men and were taken out. And then I'm going to tell you about a case that happened in 23. So let's go on. The shocking nature of this hate crime highlighted the persistent issue of racism in America, sparking national outrage and media coverage. The perpetrators were quickly identified, leading to the conviction of the two main aggressors, who received death sentences while the third received a life sentence. This case led to significant changes in Texas legislation, including the enactment of the James Beard Hate Crimes Act in 2001. Additionally, Byrd's legacy has been honored through the establishment of the James Byrd Foundation for Racial Healing and the creation of a park in his memory. The incident serves as a stark reminder of racial violence and the ongoing need for dialogue and action against hate crimes. Here's the thing. Where's that hate bill? Where's that hate bill for Black Americans? And if white Americans are so convinced that Black Americans are the ones who have been so violent toward, I would like to know when has this increase of violence against white Americans began? Are you saying it began hundreds of years ago? The last 10, 20 years? When did it start? You guys have 100 years head start over us. Let's go on. Now let's talk about Alonzo Brooks, 2004. In 2024, 23-year-old Alonzo Brooks traveled with a group of white friends to a house party in rural La Singa. I'm sure I did not say that right. C-Y-N-G-E. Singy. Okay, let's go on. Kansas. He was one of the only few Black individuals at the event. Brooks was left stranded at the party by his friends after an alleged confrontation. Here we go. Right? What happened with Nolan Wells? They're speculating that there was a confrontation. Okay, let's go on. The reason why I think they're always including confrontations supposedly between these friends and the victim is because they're trying to like subconsciously put it in your head that, see, you can't take them anywhere. These Black folks, they just go off the hinges for no reason. That's what I'm thinking. Let's go on. We have to protect ourselves after all, Let's go on. He vanished that night. Nearly a month later, his family organized their own search party and found his body in a nearby creek. Local authorities originally failed to determine the cause of death. After the case was heavily featured on Netflix Unsolved Mysteries in 2020, I remember it was like a real big thing everybody was talking about. The FBI exhumed his body and officially ruled his death a homicide. Federal investigators in Kansas have exhumed the body of a Black man whose suspicious 2004 death may be linked to possible hate crime. Officials confirmed to ABC News on Wednesday. I think this article came out maybe a year or so, or the same year, 2020. Alonzo Brooks attended a party with a friend at a farmhouse. I told you the county. On April the 4th, his body was found May the 1st in a creek after a month-long search. From the beginning, there was rumors that Brooks had been the victim of foul play. Some said Brooks may have flirted with a girl. Some said drunken white men wanted to fight a Black American male. Some said racist whites simply resented Brooks' presence. Okay, let me go on. The small town within Lynn County has a current population of over 1,119 according to the 2019 U.S. Census, and is predominantly white. Brooks, 23, was one of the 3 Black men at the party, and his friends left him behind without a ride home, officials said. Okay. When Brooks failed to come home the next day, his family and friends contacted the Lynn County Sheriff's Department. Sheriffs searched for Brooks to no avail, but a month later, when his family and friends searched the same areas, his body was found in less than an hour on top of a pile of brush and branches in the creek, the FBI said. Because of the lapse of time that passed when Brooks went missing and when his body was discovered, forensic testing at the time could not determine a cause of death. One thing, folks, you guys are going to have to learn is that if we're left somewhere, I'm going to speak for me. If I'm left somewhere in a rural town, I'm not going to go walking off somewhere all willy-nilly by myself, first of all. Second of all, I wouldn't even put myself in that situation. But if I'm left somewhere and it's rural, I will not be walking around in nobody's woods. That's not going to happen. We don't do things like that. So just for him to be found in the area he was found in, you already had to have known that was foul play. Let's go on. First, now I want to show you this clip right quick. Channel name is Miss Lowdown. She's brought some things out to the open, saying that there are white people coming out exposing their white friends or family members, saying why there's an uptick and the one black friend or black people coming up missing or unalive. Check out this clip. It's all allegations, folks. You believe it or not. But me personally, I believe it. I've been saying that I believe these are rituals. Rituals either to be accepted into one of their wicked warp groups or has to do with dark magic. I have a video talking about that. The histories of lynchings and how somebody did a report saying that those lynchings had to do with rituals. Check it out. If I can find the thumbnail for the video, I'll put it in there, or I'll just link the video into my description so you guys can check it out. But yeah, check out this video and I'll be back.
Purposes only, so everything is alleged. Threes and fours, thank you so very much. I appreciate you all and welcome. This video is for entertainment and educational purposes only, so everything is alleged, some is not, and the fair accuse is in my description box, y'all. So let's get to it, y'all. Let's get to it. Everybody want to know what's going on. Well, word on the street is, y'all, the reason why there are so many blacks passing away by the hands of their alleged own friends of other races. Word on the street is, y'all, it's an initiation. Yes, you heard me right. Some people are calling it a challenge. Some people are calling it initiation. Oh yeah, y'all. When I tell y'all you have to keep your ears to the streets, you got to keep your ears to the streets. And this is what people were saying, that this is so-called some type of initiation for Carmelo Anthony taking out Austin. And some people are saying that it's a challenge. People are literally on chats talking about how to befriend a black person, y'all, and then set them up. You can't make this up, but this is the only thing that makes sense. And a lot of these people that's on these chats and stuff like that, they got, family members that's in high places. So it's easier for them to get out of it if they do it. Y'all, this don't make no sense. So instead of putting on their little sheets and stuff at night and burning crosses and this and that and this, they done took this to a whole new level. They leaving it in the hands of their younger generation and letting them to just line you up. Y'all, this is what the streets are saying. It ain't coming from me. But let me let y'all see for yourself what's going on. This is crazy, y'all. And I'm going to tell y'all, if y'all got any friends, and I'm not trying to be funny or this and that and this, and even if you got some white friends that is really your friends, they should understand right now, especially with everything that's going on. Even if they're not like that, they still should understand why we feel the way we feel right now. Stop going places, putting yourself in harm's way, all because of friend, girlfriend, boyfriend, or friend. Okay, y'all? Stop putting yourself in harm's way.
See what I'm saying? It's weird. The circumstances behind these people. Let me read this text. I mean, not a text. This guy wrote this post are coming in on thread. Somebody said that, there are no cases of a white person or white friend being around majority black people and they never, was seen again, or they ended up unalive. And then you have people in the comments agreeing with that. Like, we're the type that when we drop you out, we gonna make sure that you get home. Unless you act a fool and we can't deal with you, then we might, have to call your family, or if it push come to shove, call the police, because we do not want to be associated with anything that happens to you, right? Because they're not gonna believe us anyway. So we're cautious. We're very cautious when it comes to you being the only white around us. You know what I'm saying? So when we drop you out, we gonna make sure your ass get up in the house, and even I'm sending a text, location. They can pin where you are. Send a text. You in there? You all right? Okay, make sure you lock that door. That's how we are. So you got people in the comments like that. We don't drive off till we know you in the house. This other guy, I'm gonna read. He's white and he hangs around. He says black people and Hispanics. In the last 5 years, I've done 3 group trips with 2 different friend groups, both made up of black and Mexican boys, and I was the only white person. Not only did I come home safely, but built up and confident in a way that white people don't really lift each other up. My black and Mexican friends make me feel seen, make me feel like I'm as much a man as them. They instill confidence in me that growing up in a white house didn't give me. Let's all just stop hanging out with gaggles of white people. And this is a white man. He said that he gets something from his non-white friends, and they're always talking about 2-parent family household, but you don't know the hell these people go through growing up in a 2-parent family household. I've heard stories after stories of white people growing up in these 2-parent households, and they're cold, emotionless. They may have money and wealth, but in order to feel some kind of love or care, it's contingent upon your works. If you did something good to make the family look good, you'll get, some kind of attention. Other than that, it's stale, it's cold, like a museum or a surgical operating room. Not saying all of them are like that, but I've heard a lot of stories where they are. Check out this question that a black woman wrote in Reddit. She is the only, or was the only black person in a group of white folks. Listen to her experience. It's completely opposite from this white guy's experience, being the only white guy. Check this out. Has anyone had any positive or negative experiences being the only black person in a friend group of mainly white, non-black people? This question was posed over 2 years ago. And is this something you would do after a negative experience? I'm not sure if I should avoid these situations from now on. This is what somebody said. Not good, never doing it again, even if they consider themselves to be left-wing liberals. They will always say some racist-ish or be jealous of you or a low-key hater. Now it's time to ask the hard questions, or the questions that a lot of folks always feel uncomfortable answering or asking. White folks, why is it that you guys feel comfortable being around us and knowing that you'll get back home safely, but we don't feel that way about you? But you said, who are the violent predators? Let's continue. Elijah Witherspoon. The incident. In June 2020, 18-year-old Elijah Nikki Witherspoon went on a late-night boat outing in Charleston Harbor, South Carolina, with 7 white acquaintances. He was the only black teenager on board. Witherspoon ended up in the water and drowned. His family and local activists strongly criticized the group because they reportedly waited nearly 3 hours before calling authorities or reporting him missing. The acquaintances claim he voluntarily jumped off the boat and struggled, although the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division ultimately ruled the drowning accidental. The conflicting timeline and stories provided by the passengers sparked widespread protests and petitions demanded justice. Documents obtained by News 2 via the Freedom of Information Act give a more vivid glimpse into the night of 18-year-old Elijah Weatherspoon's death. On the Sea Fox commander that day, a 25-year-old man whose father owned the boat, 33-year-old man, a 23-year-old man, a 21-year-old woman, and a 19-year-old man and 18-year-old woman. Weatherspoon and two 17-year-old girls. The group spent some time in the area of Shem Creek and departed from Red's Ice House around 7:40 p.m. They made their way to Morris Island, where they watched the sunset and had a few drinks. The SC Department of Natural Resources reports that everyone on the boat was drinking that night. According to the reports, 21 Busch Light cans, 13 Bud Light seltzer cans, 5 White Claws, 1 Truly, 3 mini liquor bottles, and 1 bottle of tequila, as well as the Sticky Icky was found on the boat. Around 9:17 p.m., the group left Morris Island and anchored in the Charleston Harbor near the Ravenel Bridge. The next hour would be a whirlwind with 1 passenger bleeding out, 2 men overboard, and 1 man unalive by 10:17 p.m. The water was rough according to the report, and Weatherspoon knew that. He entered the water once to use the bathroom, holding on to the boat's ladder, and struggled to get back up because of the current, which was at around 4 knots. The current made pulling up the anchor difficult as well. 2 of the passengers were working to get the anchor up at the front of the boat while Weatherspoon sat near the middle. According to the report, witnesses said the boat rocked and Weatherspoon fell over the side where he was sitting. That part right there. I'm not going to be sitting on the side of the boat in rough waters at night. Just the sight of that dark, massive water would have made me stay away from the edge. Let's go on. When Weatherspoon fell, one of the passengers working to get the anchor up dropped the line and yelled, "Man overboard." The line got caught around a female passenger's foot, and the pummeling anchor nearly dragged her overboard as well. She says she clung to the side of the boat to prevent going in. That passenger suffered multiple fractures and a punctured wound, which caused her to lose significant amount of blood, as evidenced in photos. She said she has limited memory of the rest of the night as she fell in and out of consciousness due to blood loss. Her, I'll give her a pass, because she was dealing with being, her foot jacked up, so... Let's go on. While this was going on, one of the passengers jumped in to try to rescue Weatherspoon. This passenger said that he had lifeguard and swift water rescue training. When he reached Weatherspoon, the man said that Weatherspoon was panicking and he tried to calm him down. The current was pulling them further and further away from the boat. Weatherspoon was losing stamina. With no boat in sight, the man told Weatherspoon they would have to swim to shore. They began backstroking towards Mount Pleasant. A nearby boat with Palmetto tour boats heard cries for help and threw them a life preserver. The captain called the U.S. Coast Guard around 10:17 to report 2 men in the water. Witnesses on the tour boat told law enforcement that the man appeared to be holding Weatherspoon up in a rescue position and trying to tread water for the both of them. The witnesses said that as the man was struggling to keep Weatherspoon afloat and reach the life preserver, the Sea Fox appeared seemingly out of nowhere. The man swam towards the boat and Weatherspoon slipped under. He did not resurface. Multiple people reported the man asking those on the boat why they left him and Weatherspoon out there for 30 minutes. Though it is unclear how much time actually passed. Various witnesses also reported seeing the passengers on the Sea Fox dumping alcohol overboard, and cans and bottles were reported floating in the water. The U.S. Coast Guard searched for 20 8.1 hours using 20 sorties. 8 surface units, and 2 helicopters. Multiple other agencies, including the Mount Pleasant Police Department, Charleston County Sheriff's Office, North Charleston Fire Department, and SC Department of Natural Resources, aided in the search. June 28th, Weatherspoon's body was discovered near Breach Inlet, over 5 miles from where he went missing. The coroner determined the cause of death to be asphyxiation due to drowning.
State Law Enforcement Division is now investigating the death of 18-year-old Elijah Weatherspoon, who went overboard in the Cooper River. Today, News 2's Danielle Hensley spoke with those who reached out and asked state police to get involved.
The State Law Enforcement Division started their investigation Wednesday afternoon after receiving a request letter from Charleston representatives. On Tuesday, the Charleston County Legislative Delegation formally requested that SLED conduct a full and thorough investigation into the death of Elijah Weatherspoon. The request was led by Representative Marvin Pendarvis.
For me, it was just a matter of making sure that as an elected official, I do all that I could to show that we're paying attention and we want to make sure that they get the answers that everyone is looking for.
The Department of Natural Resources was the lead agency for the investigation when Weatherspoon's body was found near Sullivan's Island on Sunday. Pendarvis says family and friends deserve as many available agencies as possible.
It's not to say that DNR is incapable, but it's to add the reinforcement, especially a case that has gotten the kind of attention that this has.
Weatherford's case has a following on social media and has gotten the attention of Charleston activist Brandy Matherly, Brandon Trolley, and Justin Hunt, who have organized a Justice for Elijah Weatherspoon rally.
We want everyone that comes to support the rally to let our local residents know what's going on, that it is an issue.
The local activists are also pushing for a state hate crime law and racial bias audits in all departments. The rally is scheduled for Sunday, July 12th, here at White Point Gardens from 4 to 7 p.m.
Oh my God. Okay. The thing that throws me is them saying that he was sitting, I guess, on the rail of the boat and it got rocky and he fell off. Okay. They didn't mention anything about him being a swimmer, if he had an issue with water, scared of water. None of that was mentioned from what I can see. But I really don't believe that you would be sitting on the edge of the boat, on the side of the boat, and it's rocky. And then you guys have been drinking. But I know some people do silly things when they're inebriated. Things that they know they wouldn't do. So, let's go on, folks. Jerard Jackson. In late June 26, this is it. This is it, folks. This is happening now. Check this out. 28-year-old Jerard Jackson traveled from Illinois with acquaintances to attend the Electric Force Music Festival in Michigan. Jackson was discovered hanging from a tree at the festival grounds. While initial narratives online circulated regarding a lack of corporate or local accountability, witnesses near his camp alleged seeing a violent altercation involving Jackson prior to his death. Why are they always having some kind of altercation? You see what I'm talking about? Why is they always having some kind of okay, let's go on. His family and community advocates on social media have actively launched campaigns to ensure the case is fully investigated rather than immediately dismissing it as self-unaliving. Because that's what they're saying. He went off to this festival with so-called friends, and you know who his friends are. Matter of fact, I have a clip. Let me show you this clip right quick. see who his friends are. He supposedly, you went to this festival with them, and then you went, I can't take it anymore. I love you guys, or I don't love you. I'm out. And you head off to the woods and unalive yourself. It doesn't make sense. So now they're going to have to present a receipt, some kind of footage showing that he went to a store, whether the same day or days before, and bought him whatever he needed to do that. Rope. Did he use a belt? How did he do it? Did he leave a message on his phone? Did they retrieve his phone? Check this out. Let me read the rest to you guys. The Electric Forest Festival remains the focus of 2 ongoing investigations after Michigan State Police confirmed that a missing Illinois man was found dead near the festival grounds. Was found unalive near the festival grounds. Michigan State Police said 28-year-old Jerard Jackson of Illinois was reported missing on the 29th of June after attending the Electric Forest Festival in Rothbury, Michigan. His body was later found in a wooded area near his park rental vehicle. This happened last month, you guys. Authorities continue searching for answers in the separate death of, they said they found a newborn unalived in one of the porta potties. Wow. But they're saying there's 2 separate incidences, 2 separate cases. I don't know why they needed to report them together, but let's go. Earlier that morning, troopers responded to Jackson's campsite after he reported an alleged criminal incident involving a friend. After interviewing those involved, investigators concluded that no criminal incident had occurred, and Jackson reportedly left the venue shortly afterward. Authorities said Jackson left behind his cell phone and other personal belongings. Why? His rental vehicle was later located in the Rothbury area with his wallet and keys inside before officers discovered his body in nearby woods. According to investigators, preliminary findings indicate Jackson unalived himself. Police said there is no evidence of foul play. I thought it said Jackson. They responded to Jackson calling them. So no. Earlier that morning, troopers responded to Jackson's campsite after he reported, oh, well, okay, he did. I said it right. He reported an alleged criminal incident involving a friend. After interviewing those involved, investigators concluded that no criminal incident had occurred. Jackson reportedly left the venue shortly afterward. But they said he left behind his personal belongings and cell phone. His rental car was located near where they were camping. His wallet and keys were inside. And then they discovered his body in the nearby. God, come on. Come on, man. He called and reported that whoever he reported or alleged criminal incidents involving a friend happened. That person that Jackson accused of doing criminal or committing a criminal incident should be the main suspect. Come on now. You don't have to be a rocket scientist, folks. Let's go to the next case. Gregory Johnson. I covered this in one of the mystery videos I ever did on this channel. Gregory Johnson. This happened in 2008. Fraternity brothers discovered the body of Gregory Johnson in the basement of San Jose State University house. The 20-year-old kinesiology major was 6 feet 2 inches tall, but was found hanging from a water pipe 5 feet 10 inches from the floor in the basement of the house of Sigma Psi, the largest white Greek college fraternity in America. Despite inconsistencies in testimony and no ligature marks on his neck, Johnson's death was ruled self-inflicted. Gregory's mother, Denise Johnson, was not notified of his death until several hours had already passed. Students, grief counselors, and university administration were notified of Gregory's death before Denise ever received a call. Denise was notified of her son's death by Clear Lake, California police officers that showed up to her house. Denise claims she felt intimidated because one of the officers had his hand on his gun and kept asking if the family was going to drive down to San Jose that night. Fearing for their safety, Denise and Gregory Sr. did not leave Clear Lake, California until the next morning. Gregory's body had no marking on his neck to suggest strangulation, which is odd considering police reports stated he had been hanging for nearly 2 hours before his body was discovered. When Denise arrived at the Sigma Psi fraternity house around 1:30 p.m. on November the 23rd, the basement smelled like pine sol because somebody had already disinfected the crime scene. The Grand Master of the fraternity was also already at the house when the Johnson family arrived. The house was filled with fraternity boys who Denise Johnson believed were looking for a fight. Denise remembers seeing a police riot squad van parked at the house when they arrived. See how they always talk about we riot? See, I tell you, they do a lot of stuff, they just don't report it. The media don't report it. One of Gregory's fraternity brothers lied to the evidence collector and tampered with Gregory's belongings. Members of the fraternity told the evidence collector a cell phone at the site did not belong to Gregory, so it was left behind. Gregory's sister-in-law recognized the phone, and frat members acknowledged that the phone belonged to Gregory before handing it over to the family. When Gregory's sister-in-law went through the phone later that night, she found that all of Gregory's pictures had been deleted and somebody had attempted to call his voicemail at 8:30 p.m. on November the 22nd, several hours after he was allegedly found dead. Santa Clara County Coroner's Office refused to let the Johnson family view ID Gregory's body. They stated that the fraternity brother who found Gregory dead had already ID'd his body. The coroner's office told Miss Johnson that she needed to raise a few $1,000s ASAP to have Gregory's body sent to Clear Lake, California, or else they would cremate his body. When Gregory's body finally arrived at the funeral home nearly 2 weeks after his death, Denise Johnson discovered a 6-inch crack in the back of his head, from which brain matter was still oozing. This injury was not mentioned in the incomplete autopsy report that the Johnsons received. Gregory's neck was also broken. The Johnson family believes SJSU covered up Gregory's death because his fraternity included boys from wealthy and influential families. Gregory was close friends with a fraternity member whose father was in a leadership position at the company Monster Energy Drinks. According to Miss Johnson, Gregory's friend deleted all pictures of him and Gregory after Gregory's death. They had recently gone on a vacation with a group of friends. All the pictures from this vacation were deleted. An independent autopsy can help prove that Gregory did not die by strangulation from unaliving himself. Tamla Horsford. Police logs show that Horsford was last seen alive on balcony around 2 a.m. after drinking and watching television with the home's residents and guests. Her body was found face down in the grass at 7:30 a.m. by the homeowner's boyfriend, who was or is Hispanic. But 911 was not called until 8:38, leaving a major unexplained gap in time. The medical examiner noted severe blunt force trauma, including abrasions to her face, lacerations to her heart, and injuries in her wrists and ankles, which officials claim happened during a straight fall from the deck. How do you have lacerations to your heart when your heart is encased in your rib cage? Rib cages. Public suspicion escalated after a county court official who was the homeowner's boyfriend and the person who found her dead used his position to access confidential police reports before resigning under pressure. Yeah, so the video, that the channel I told you I was checking out a little bit briefly, she said they have gotten more information to show that it was more to that case. I think I might take a look at it. Gary Jackson. This happened in 2023, Florida. 3 monsters against 1 black man. Sentencing underway for men involved in Gary Jackson's death. Jackson's body was found behind a dumpster downtown. 2 others who pleaded guilty to accessory after the fact for their role in the murder are also set to be sentenced. They were sentenced last year. During the sentencing hearing, Holden Dootson testified he, Ryan Nicholas, and Daniel DeGuardia were drinking and doing white lines before deciding to go downtown the night of Jackson's murder. Dootson testified he and Nicholas were both armed. At some point, Nicholas took off chasing Jackson. After a brief pursuit, the men returned to the car where Dootson and DeGuardia claimed Nicholas accused Jackson of stealing his gun. So I need to know if they knew Jackson, they didn't go into details about that. DeGuardia testified Nicholas directed him where to drive. Upon finding Jackson, DeGuardia claimed Nicholas took Dootson's gun and exited the vehicle. Nicholas, did say something during the lines of, "I know where you're hiding. You're about to get shot," said DeGuardia. Dootson and DeGuardia both claimed Nicholas proceeded to shoot Jackson several times behind a dumpster on Ashley Street right near the courthouse. When Nicholas returned to the car, the 3 men drove away. Nicholas said, "I just blew that N-word's head off," was one of the things that was said, "and nobody steals from me," almost bragging, said Dootson. Nicholas has pleaded guilty to second-degree murder, and Dootson and DeGuardia have both pleaded guilty to accessory after the fact for their roles. Family members asked the judge to impose the maximum sentence. 3 monsters against 1 black man. They chased my uncle down, said Jackson's niece. Nicholas faces a maximum of 40 years in prison as a result of his plea agreement. Did you guys hear that? The man who pursued this black man claimed that he stole from him, pursued him, and shot him, and bragged about shooting his head off. He got a maximum of 40 years in prison. And what did they give Carmelo Anthony? Let's go on. DeGuardia and Dootson both face maximum sentences of 15 years. At least DeGuardia and Dootson are expected to be sentenced during a follow-up hearing. Yep. So I would have to do a little more investigation to see if they knew this guy prior to that, and how did he have access to your gun? Was it a lie? A lie to justify what you wanted to do? It seemed like any black guy you saw walking down the street, you was going to falsely accuse him. If you look at the history of black men being unalived in this country, put in trees, it was mainly because of a lie, falsely accused, and they uppity. They needed to be put in their place because they was acting a little too uppity Negroes. I did some videos called I forgot what it's called. I did them a few years ago, maybe 2 years ago. Unintentional lynching or something, showing how this black man was falsely accused of unaliving his child, and this white sheriff fought off the crowd, the innocent bystanders that wanted to go and snatch this black man out of prison and unalive him. Sheriff fought him off, protected him, and later on he ended up dying. The falsely accused ended up dying in prison. Found out after he died that it was a white man who unalived the white boy. Yep. I'll probably link those videos in my description too. Whoo, Lord. This country got a lot of blood on their hands. A lot of it. Let's go on. Last and not least, Nolan Wells. 4th of July. Man. I mean, do you, when you go off and celebrate a holiday, do you expect to never be seen by your parents or family again? Do these people have some kind of foreboding, you know? Like, what Elijah, I believe, went off on a boat. Do they have something they feel like, ooh, I shouldn't go, but they brush it off? Let's go on. Wells went to Horn Island on a private boat with college classmates. The island is an isolated strip of land located roughly 12 miles off Mississippi coast. Now, can you imagine black folks going to some isolated island? They will find a way. They will find a way to stop that from happening. Or they will put some kind of monitoring devices all over the place. Or have, police or sheriff in boats monitoring the area. When the white friends returned to Ocean Springs without Wells, they surrendered his cell phone and keys to his family, stating that they lost track of him during a chaotic boat malfunctioning. Jackson County Sheriff Department, alongside the Coast Guard, deployed dive teams and drones on July the 5th, ultimately retrieving his body from the water on the morning of July the 6th. Ben Crump launched an independent investigation on behalf of the Wells family, demanding that the district attorney question every passenger on the boat using polygraph tests and examine digital data from their phones. That is what I call entitlement, people. That you can go off with a friend, pick him up, he meets you somewhere, everybody knows, his family, I'm sure posted it on social media what he was going to do. What he was going to do on 4th of July, and then never see him alive again. That is entitlement, people. You can have a major holiday event, take your one black friend off somewhere, and nobody sees him alive again. And then come up with all these major elementary excuses. And then believe that you're going to get away with it. That is entitlement. The people who are always calling someone entitled are the most entitled people on the face of the earth. Because nobody else in their right mind would participate in something like this and then come back with a corny excuse and then think everybody's supposed to be like, oh, okay, you guys got separated. Okay, no big deal. Thank you for telling me. All right, folks. Leave your comments below. Let me know what you would do if this was your family. If one of your family members went off and you never saw them again, and their friends, so-called friends, come back and tell you, oh, we lost track. I don't know what happened. One minute she was here, the next minute she just disappeared on us. Vanished in the smoke. All right, I'm out, folks. I'll see you guys in the next video.